Hey, welcome back to another video. It's your boy Jasper here, but before we get to flare binding, I'm gonna show you at least a couple updates on the 38,000 here. 3800. Oh my god, not 38,000. So this is a 1998 Photon 3800 named number 379. It's a handicap. You can definitely tell by the handicap lift here, the wheelchair lift here, thanks to a C3M for the original one on the Photon RE. You can definitely tell it's also a handicap by the handicap stickers all around the bus, here and there and stuff like that. So, yeah, don't be delusioned by the cross views and the mirrors. Um, they will be, they're going to be interchangeable and stuff like that. Well, at least through the, yeah, they should be interchangeable. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and get on to flare binding here. I just wanted to show you the updated, So if you're not here for the 3800, you can just go ahead and exit this video now because the rest of this will be flare binding and, how to do it basically. So let me just minimize this here and minimize that. So we're gonna be doing TG's 2013 Bluebird T3 RE because that thing hasn't been flare binded yet. So we're gonna open the zip. We're gonna go in there and find the truck file. I use 7-zip, but you guys can use WinRAR or the default Windows thing. I don't know how would you use the default Windows thing. So, but yeah, it's all up to you. So you can go ahead and just find the truck file, click and drag it to an empty folder, like how I created documents and then CE. Back then when I was doing the ICCEs, I created this folder so I can put all my stuff into there. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and yeah, open this up with Notepad. So let me give it a minute for it to load. Okay, it doesn't really take a minute to load it. All it really does is take a couple seconds, but I wasn't too sure if I had anything, up here that would like lag it. So let's say that we want to flare bind the brake lights. So the first thing I would recommend you doing is uh find the object name for the brake lights. And how do we do that? So we're going to do that real quick, but I'm just going to keep this truck file here in Notepad++. You can open it with Notepad. You can open it with, basically almost about any software that, any software that you can use to like at least, edit truck files and stuff. So I'm going to find the body mesh here, and I'm going to click and drag it to the right here to an empty folder. So the first thing that you want to do is that you want to open up a Windows File Explorer and you want to go to this PC, Windows, Programs, Files, Rigs of Rods, assuming that you're on 2020.01 and that you see the Ogre Mesh Upgrader and the Ogre XML Converter. So what you need to do is you need to click and drag the mesh file over the upgrader first. It'll do all that. Just give it some time. And then you're going to drag it over the converter. So one of the two, well, I would say you need to have Blender and Rigs of Rods as well as the plugins. I do have another video for that, how to import stuff into ROR and stuff. You can go ahead and check it out on my channel. And yeah, so now that we have a mesh and a mesh XML, we're going to go ahead and open Blender. Also, I am so sorry if my microphone is trash, but we're going to go ahead and roll with it. So yeah, where you're going to go to File, Import, and it should say something like Torchlight Ogre or Ogre 3D, something like that. If you do not have that, I would recommend going to get the plugin because, yeah, you're really going to need the plugin. So you're going to go to Torchlight Ogre, and you're going to basically find where you created that new folder. So since I clicked and dragged my mesh and mesh XML to document CE, I'm going to go there, documents, and then literally CE right here. And I'm going to click that, and I'm going to click import mesh. It is going to take a while depending on how big the file size is. I would say it would say take maybe 10, 20, maybe even 30 minutes depending on how big it is. But yeah, let me go ahead and unpause it once it's loaded in. And once you import the whole thing, it should look like this. Or whatever bus you're doing, it should look something like this. And yeah. So I'm gonna press Shift F to go into free camera mode and turn my camera all the way to the back since I am gonna do the brake sounds, bruh. The freaking brake material flare binding. I almost forgot the name. So what you're gonna do is press Z twice, and it should bring something like this. So one thing, all you need to do is freaking right select or select the brakes, and it should say what the name is right there. So it says BBT3RE red warning light. I don't know why you would name brakes the red warning light when shouldn't it be up here? What? Um. Okay. I guess. Well, all right then. Sorry for my confusion. It's just that, you know, I don't know why TG named it the red warning light when it's obviously brakes. So how you can tell that you selected the brakes is that you could press tab to go into edit mode, and you'll see these lines indicating that the brakes has been selected, and you can tell those are obviously the brakes without any texture. So that's all you really need to do. And once you selected what you needed to flare bind, press N as in night, and just scroll all the way down here, and there's your item name. So you're gonna go ahead and just, you know, yeah. So once you find the item name, oh, also, I'm so sorry. If you're doing turn signals like these, they need to be separate. They can't be the same. If they're both the same object, then that means both of them are gonna flash at once, and you know you really don't want that. So you're just gonna have to separate them and just yeah. But I'm not teaching mesh stuff today. I'm teaching flare binding. So yeah, that's just a little thing. So we're gonna go back to Notepad++, and I'm gonna scroll all the way down. And the thing that you want to do is you want to scroll all the way down to the point where you see something like flares or flares 2. And then from there, you keep scrolling. And you keep scrolling until you do not see any more flares anymore. So this counts for flares and flares 2. People can mix them in. You'll see a flares 2, then a flares, and a flares 2 probably, and all that stuff. But yeah. So yeah, that's all I really had to say on that one. So just keep scrolling until you get past those sections, and when you reach a new section, that's when you're gonna stop. So I'm gonna go right here, and I'm gonna press enter twice and type up this material flare bindings. Now this section here, you're basically just telling Rigs of Rods what you're gonna flare bind. So before you put what flare bind that you want it to be, or any of that sort, I would recommend counting the flares. So let me explain that. So mainly in most material flare bindings, you're gonna see something that's something like this. So one and then headlight thing, and then you're gonna see something like 6 and then brake thing. Stuff like this, right? So basically the numbers in the front is what flare number that you're looking for. And I'm going to explain that a little bit further. So I'm so sorry. So by looking at all of these flares, basically you're going to have to count how many flares there are. And I know it looks confusing. I know it is really confusing once you're looking at this, But I don't want you to look at it as if there are many different numbers and many different texts and all that stuff. I want you to look at it as if I'm counting the amount of questions on a test, how many questions will there be? So if we take it into that perspective, we can tell that this is question 1, this is question 2, this is question 3, and then, but some of you now, when I went to question 3, some of you guys probably said, okay, Jasper, stop. What about this right here? Well, the thing is that they have a little bit of, I think it's called a semicolon in front of the line right here. So any line that has a semicolon in front of it, you do not count. They are omitted. You do not do that. You don't count it, basically. So I would be counting from, 1, 2, and then since all of these have semicolons, I'm going to skip it. Just go to 3, 4, and so on and so forth. How can you tell which one? How can you tell the break, or how you're probably like, okay, well, how do I know which flare to choose? This is where the numbers come in. Numbers. I'm stupid. This is where this is where I'm so sorry, guys, but this is where the letters come in. If you see something that says F and -1, those are the headlights. Basically, the F is saying that this is for the front lights, this is the fog lights. So, therefore, when I turn this on, this flare is going to show up, or this flare is going to, do an action here. When I turn on the fog lights or the headlights or something. This L -1 is a left turn signal. Self-explanatory. Also a right turn signal, self-explanatory. These are the brakes. And this is the reverse. Now, a lot of people like to get very, very confused when it comes to the lowercase r and the uppercase R. The lowercase r will always be the turn signal, while the uppercase R will be for the reverse lights. So don't get those two mixed up. I know it's one small difference, but that one small difference can screw up the whole truck file. So keep that in mind, that the little r is for the turn signal, and the big R is for when you're backing it up. So since I'm doing a brake thing here, I'm going to basically count the number of flares I get until I get to something that says B1. So this is 1, this is 2. I'm skipping all this because this has semicolons. So I go to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now on the 7th line, on the 7th one that I count, this one has a brake thing. So I'm going to go down and I'm going to put in 6, which I already have there for the brake. But Jasper, why would you put in 6 if the question number is 7? Now, bear me out, hear me out here. ROR always starts counting with 0. It never starts counting with 1. So when I was doing, okay, question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, ROR actually counts it as question 0, question 1, question 2, question 3. So once you get to the flare that you are looking for, always subtract the number that you counted on by 1. So since this was on the 7th line, I took 7 minus 1, and that's how we got 6. And then for the name thing right here, you're going to switch back to Blender. You see this item thing right here? You're going to copy that text. It will select that text, copy, switch back to Notepad++ or whatever you're doing, paste it. You're done with the truck file. You don't have to go in this truck file anymore. You're done with it. So, well, actually, no. I want you to keep this up because next thing we're going to be going to is in the material file. And you're going to need that in the material flare bindings. So, let's go ahead and open up the material file. I'm so sorry that this is very lengthy, but I want to explain it to you in full detail. So, you get what I mean. It's not like oh, here's the answer and go do whatever you want. But this is a sort of thing where it's like, okay, I'm going to show you this, and this is how you would work it. All right. So let's go ahead and open up the material. And how I found the material is that most 9 out of 10 times they're going to match up with this mesh name. So if there's a mesh name, there's going to be a material name with the same thing. So we're going to open this up in Notepad, and you're going to see a whole lot of this. Don't get too scared. It's simple. It's simple. I'm telling you. So you're going to copy this, and you're going to go to the material file. So you're going to go in the truck file, copy the object name, go back to the material file, Control F to search. You're going to paste it in there. You're going to find it. Wait, actually, does that say turning sig? Wait, I thought I copied the brake lights. I'm so sorry, guys. I thought I copied the brake lights. So, I sometimes when you get, you know, once you get up there, you know, and you start speaking and stuff, you kind of tend to make some mistakes. So at least we now know that we now have the right object in which we're going to flare bind. So we're going to take this, we're going to find this, and we're going to put it in here, find next. And we can see here that it takes us right here. Now, before you do anything, you're going to look at the texture, CE3BL in my case, and we're going to go ahead and go back into the zip file and find it, CE3BL, and I found it right there. So I'm going to click and drag it to the empty folder thing here, and yeah, there's our brake light. So, okay, so before we do anything to that brake light, now if it looks like this, you're just gonna select, put your cursor right here, select all the way until you get to here. If there's any numbering here, then delete that, and yeah. But if there's no numbering over this, then you're fine. Or if it looks like this, then all you really need to do is just put emissive one. I'll show you. So one thing that you always got to do when you're doing flare bindings is you need to put a line that says emissive. So one thing I would do is if it has diffuse right here, select your cursor over it until you have the whole thing selected right here. Copy, put your cursor over here, paste, and then rename it from diffuse to emissive. 111, and I would recommend putting this as a 0.3. You can put it as a 1.0. I never tried it, what it would be like as a 1.0, but I always put it as an emissive 111 0.3. Okay? So, yeah, it should look something like this. But, yeah, it should look something like this. You don't even need to have diffuse in there half the time. It could even look like this. You'll be all right. So, but in this case, I'm going to leave it there. So, after that, where it says texture down here, you're going to type anim underscore texture. Leave it like this. And then space 2 space 0. Once you do that, you can save the file. You're done right here. So, we're going to go ahead and just go back here. And we're going to open this up with paint.net or whatever program you use. After you open it up, I would recommend right clicking this thing, rename, and give it and leave it the same name, but only change it to _0. I think I did that before paint.net loaded it up, so it's going to say, you know, that it can't find the file or anything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. Yeah, the file cannot be found. And yeah. So the whole point is you want to have an _0 PNG and an _1 PNG. To create the _1 PNG, go to the _0 just like I did. Open it up. You're going to press Control-Shift-D to duplicate the thing. Duplicate the layer. Then you're going to click this little icon right here. Change it from normal to additive. And now it looks a little bit more brightened. If you want to make it a little bit more darker, I would click the other background, duplicate it again, and I will probably give this an overlay. And you can always switch it around and stuff so you get a different result and stuff. But mainly the simple way is just open the image, Control Shift D to duplicate, go to the layer properties, click additive, Control Shift F to flatten, and you're going to Control Shift S to save. Just like how that says _0, name it _1, save as is, select OK, and you're going to see something like this. So now I think we are done. I don't think we're missing anything. Yeah, get rid of all that stuff except the one that you changed. We did change something in the material. We did change something in the truck. So we're going to have, so, don't delete those. But we do have an _0 and an _1 PNG. So now select all of that, put it back into the file here. And yeah, I believe that's it. So let's go ahead and go to ROR and see how it works. Okay, so now we're into ROR. I'm surprised I'm not lagging, to be honest. Well, probably on the recording, but not here. So let's go ahead and go to TG's RE because that's what we edited. Let's click OK to spawn it. And let's see if the flare binding worked. And yeah, you can see that behind the flares, once you remove the flares, you will definitely be able to see the the brakes. Let me change it to nighttime so that you guys will be able to see a little bit more. So yeah, from here, you are definitely able to tell that the brake lights are now flare binded. And yeah, that's it. That's all you have to do. And just to make sure that they're flare binded and not stuck, I'm going to put this here and I'm gonna enable the parking brake. And you see that the PNG changed, but once I put back on the brakes, yeah, it lights up itself again. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope this has helped you out. Yeah, I really appreciate making this video for you guys. I hope it really helped you guys out. So yeah, stay tuned for any more tutorial videos that I decide to do. And yeah, that's all I really have to say from there. So I will catch you guys later.